Guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a playlist called the DOCKET release of the FIU bridge collapse. I'm going to jump around and, as I'm jumping around, post things, such as this is part of the report that states the deflection of span 1 after removal of the false works are within the expected deflections. So they expect, this is by the FIG engineer. Sorry about my throat again, my voice. The deflection of span 1 after removal of the false works are within expected deflection. So I always stated that this bridge was deflecting in the middle, causing the problem with the chamfer, etc., at the far right. And here's that deflection being made clear that FIG states that that deflection is present. So we now have a bridge that's moving, this deflection. So they did not, if you use that deflection statement, wow, that's just craziness. That doesn't put it all in that does not put it all in compression, then does it? If the bridge is has some deflection on it, it no longer has compression. It's got some tension moment also, if it has deflection. So it can have compression in it, but by the cabling, compression's in it. But in reality, that some members on that bridge are experiencing tension by putting deflection here. So I don't get Linda Fig, if you remember, she said the entire structure is under compression, and also this report. So far, I've saw it where they show. Gosh, let me pause it and grab it for you. I did not know if I had time for this. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay, so here I have part of the NTSB report, page 94 of 206. Well, let's just look at this first. Self-weight only member axle load, self-weight. This is the one that was doing transportation. We have, where is it? That's just showing it. Yeah, I brought this to you guys' attention numerous times about detensioning, and this is part of the drawings. So I'm not going to toot my horn about that, but I just brought that. You guys are just telling you what you're looking at. That was already talked about. They talked about moving the structure. Let me pause it for a second. I'm trying to find the color diagram. Before I do that, take note of this number 3 here, page 109 of 206. Temporary supports of main span section shall stay in the middle of the cross section during SPMT transport. And obviously that didn't happen. I don't want to. It's so much that this is going to be going forever, I think. Hold on. I still want to find the blue part, but very importantly, we go to page 129 of 206. There were a total of 37 individual reviewers of the pedestrian bridge plan submittals. 37. These reviewers are categorized into 3 groups: FIU and their subconsultant, 2, FDOT and their subconsultants, and 3, third-party reviewers. The names of the reviewers are provided below. Aha. Stuart Grant. He had the videos that a lot of us got hold of. FIU, Stuart Grant. Okay. FDOT. BPA is Raphael, whatever, we know about that. And there's your FDOT people out everywhere. And you have Miami-Dade County and Federal Highway. So we talked about that many times. But Stuart Grant is FIU's viewer. I need to get this blue thing for you. Hold on. So now we can see where the credit goes to. So the credit goes to the report by Denny Pate, FIG rather. There's a concern with tension. This is FIG speaking. Let me clarify that. FIG clarification provided to FDOT June 29, 2016. This is before the collapse. C. There is a concern with tension behind the compression zone due to longitudinal post-tension of the walkway at the member ends as the top of the web and canopy element gets dragged along, shear lag in region 3. So this was already talked about. Look at it. There's a triangle. I talk about this triangle too, and there it is in this drawing here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Fig responded. Let me get rid of this pause here. So looking at this report, now we get clarity on exactly what this means. And FDOT to FIG recommended these chamfers. This is not for detail to show us behind it, but it was recommended, looking at the end of the structure, these chamfers would be added. They talked about the back span and the main span on this throughout the entire deck, all the verticals and horizontal, all the points. And they addressed it as, talk about it as shear lag. Nothing to see here yet. Well, I guess I should say that FIG reviewed the FDOT recommendation and determined that the chamfers end blocks were not required by the design analysis. It would pose a safety tripping hazard to pedestrians all the way down. Of course it would. It is a tripping hazard. And the design says it's not required for it, using the computer programming, etc. Independent peer review programming by Louis Berger. I'm going to pause and read on and jump back in. Okay, guys, so this is kind of important. Treatment of the construction joints at the south abutment columns, as discussed between the CEI, MCM, and FIG. Let's cut to the chase down here. The June 13th, this is before the accident. 2017, email correspondence was specific for the construction joints at the columns of the south abutment. The construction joints requirements between the vertical truss members and the deck/canopy were never discussed among the CEI and contractor/engineer of record. That's weird. Okay. In addition, the vertical truss members of the deck canopy joints are not detailed or noted with any specific requirements. All right, so here's the thing. They said if that's the case, that's why the OSHA report said that they should have roughened it, following specifications 400-9.3. The specification requires the surface of hardened concrete be roughened, cleaned, or loosened. Of loosened particles. Okay, so then this is what they're saying. They never talked about how that thing was going to be done. That's interesting. So it appears they left it to the contractor to figure it out. And pausing. Okay, I'm going to terminate this video with this line of questioning, page 33 of 53 on, and I'll give you the link to it, on page 175. Question, okay, and who at FIG made the final decision that restressing number 11 post-tension bars and the observation of the cracks was not a safety concern? Who made that ultimate decision? Two questions in one. Two questions at one time. Answer, that was collectively a decision of a team with Denny Pate and Alan Phillips and myself, as well as, Franklin Hines and Eddie Leon, since they were there on site. Obviously, they didn't see any of this, but that was collectively decided on as a team. That was the right thing to do. And then that was communicated by myself to MCM, both over the phone and then followed up with an email. Okay, do you believe the restressing of post-tension of number 11 post-tension bars was a change to the design plans? Answer, absolutely not. Absolutely not. What is recommended in the design plans for restressing? Answer, was it recommended in the design plans for restressing? Answer, it was. It was a statistical scheme for the bridge. So that statistical scheme was represented in the bridge plans. I don't remember them saying detention and detention a few days later and put it back on. I don't remember finding that anywhere in the plans. I'm stating that to you. Question. The specific recommendation to restressing the number 11 post-tension bars on Thursday, March 15th was the recommendation that was in the design plans? Question mark. Answer. It was the statistical scheme. I'm stuttering. Statistical scheme. It's almost like I'm placing a girder on bearing supports and I place it down the first time and it doesn't fall down exactly as intended. I'm going to pick it up, reposition it, and then set it down again. Set it back down. It was, in my mind, that's a similar occurrence here. So in his mind, that's a similar thing to detention and then retention. They were chasing cracks because in his, it's not fitting. This beam he's talking about is not fitting. You would ask him, why is it being put back, removed? To make it fit. Well, then that means somebody erred. You'd go down that line if it's somebody erred on calculations of it. So it's not something you dry fit. Placing a girder on a bearing supports, and right here, I'm placing a girder on bearing supports, and I place it down the first time, and it doesn't fall down exactly as intended. Oh, he's talking about repositioning it. I'm going to pick it up and reposition it, and right, literally talking about repositioning, not that it's a. So he's equating that retensioning to repositioning. Okay. Was a similar recommendation as the de-stressing of number 2 and number 11 bars that was specifically recommended in the design plans? Question again. Can you say that again? I wasn't. Question. Was the restraining of the members number 11 post-tension bars that was conducted on Thursday, March 15th, was that a similar recommendation as a recommendation to de-stress the number 2 and number 11 bars? Answer. They were both. If I understand your question correctly, they were both statistically, he loves this as his answer, of construction stages as outlined in the bridge plans. Did that answer the question? So he's trying to ask questions and jump away, this person answering. Question, no, I understand that the restressing of member 11 bars was to address cracking that was observed. Was the restressing of number 11 bars called for in the design plans? Or was it something that was recommended as part of the cracks that you can obtain from MCM? Question mark. Answer, well, if there was no cracks, I don't think the intent would be to go back in time to go ahead and restress the post-tension bars that are on the north side. Okay, so he's stating that they're retensioning for crack repair. Question. Okay, so you don't believe the restressing of number 11 post-tension bars was manipulation of loads on a member that was not called for in the design plans? Answer, no, I do not agree with that. Well, this is odd. The way he answered it could be he's agreeing with this guy or disagreeing with his statement. Question, was the independent review done of the restressing of number 11 post-tension bars? Answer, an independent review was done on the statistical scheme where the temporary post-tension bars were stressed. So that again, that is not a new phase. This is not a new statistical scheme or a phase that the structure was seeing. This was basically going back to Saturday when the span was in place. Aha! Remember I told you guys about that, about the going back in time? That they wanted to go back in time, put it back to the way it was I told you guys about. Remember? Well, here it is. This is what it looks like. That statement, it goes back in time, is what they were trying to do. So this was a new structural scheme, structural system. This was not a new structural scheme, structural system. So that's, I think, the difference there. And I want to keep reading for you guys. Let me jump on. Oh, so it looks like the line of questioning just terminates. That was the answer. And yeah, it's you can see the reading. It just terminated. Hold on. Let's see if it picks back up. Okay, let me pause it. I'm going to slide down. Read more. Okay, so I'm going to add the video with two things here. This one dealt with this video, deflection. We talked about it. If you go back, they'll show we talked about the deflection. And we're going to end this with the elongation right here as my keyword search. So if you guys come here, you can keyword search. The pedestrian bridge collapsed a short time after step 12 was completed, but before the jack was removed. So this is contrary to the OSHA report that states that they were still working on tensioning number 12 when it failed. This report contradicts that and states that it failed a short time after 12 was completed, but before the jack was removed. So I wanted to pop over here and show you, this is the OSHA report, and this is what it's mirroring, or the one is mirroring the other, about how preparation of the deck was an issue and the surface should have been done. And so far we can see some mirroring going on here. So contrary to the NTSB report, we have the OSHA report stating right here that they had retension of the upper bar at the desired tension of 280 kips and were at the lower bar at their last cycle to complete the 280 kips when the incident occurred. So you can see there's some conflict there. You're going to allow some mistakes, but they should address it at least, but apparently not. I'm going to terminate this video and add another one for you.